Hi everyone, welcome to the third webinar of a series of webinars conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming management case study examinations happening in May 2023. My name is Nick and I'm one of the lead tutors and evaluators for MCS at TCS. All right, so let's look at the session outcomes. As I've been telling you throughout the sessions, out of the 4 webinars, this is the most important one because I'm gonna take you through answering technique and aligned with it, I'm gonna talk about time management techniques as well, because as I've been telling you on multiple occasions, most students end up failing the MCS exam because they run out of time, and if you run out of time, your chances of passing the exam is extremely low. And on top of that, most students lack a clear understanding about how to structure the answers, how to bring in information from the pre-scene, and how to relate theoretical concepts or how to apply theoretical concepts to a real life exam situation. So all these things will be discussed in depth tonight based on discussion of a mini mock. So I will be taking you through the first task of the mini mock, which we have already uploaded onto our website. And I've developed an answer plan based on it. And based on this answer plan, I will be explaining the answer. Then at the very end of tonight's session, I'll highlight about what you need to do to bounce back from failure. There could be individuals who could not pass the exam last time. There's absolutely nothing to worry. I'll be highlighting about issues faced by most students, which leads to a failure. And for each of these issues, I will be providing solutions as well. Then talking about the schedule of webinars, we have already done 2 webinars. In the first webinar, I provided you with a 6-week study plan. And if you refer to our website, you can gain access to the same study plan under the MCS page. And in the second webinar, I took you through the pre-scene. I hope you guys got a good understanding about the internal dynamics of Happywell holidays, on which this time's pre-scene is based. In this webinar, I'll be taking you through answering technique. And in the upcoming webinar, exam prep, I'll be taking you through examiner's comments, thereby highlighting what the examiner requires out of you, because it's better to know the requirements of the examiner. Then if you address all these requirements, then you have a good chance of passing the exam. And on top of that, I will also highlight about what you need to do to develop confidence both before and during the exam, because as per the CIMA examiner, confident students end up passing the exam comfortably. So I'll highlight or provide you with guidance pertaining to how to develop this required level of confidence. All right, so looking at the first part of tonight's webinar, I'm gonna highlight answering technique. So when developing your answers, you are supposed to use appropriate headings and subheadings. Okay, so I will take you through a suggested answer, which you can find via our website. So as you can see, within this suggested answer, per task, section 1 has multiple tasks. So you can see there's one main heading being utilized here, which is in bold and underlined format. And the same could be said about the second subheading, which is in second heading rather, which is in bold and underlined format. So the examiner wants you to use a heading per task, heading per subtask rather. Okay, so if you consider one single task, let's assume that there are 2 subtasks, subtask A and subtask B. For each subtask, you need to come up with a main heading, and this needs to be in bold and underlined format. And you can come up with subheadings if you feel that you need to further faction out your answer. And whenever you develop subheadings, it needs to be in bold format. Okay, so this is the first step towards developing proper answer plans or developing properly structured answers. You need to use appropriate headings and subheadings. And on top of that, when providing answers, you need to provide answers in paragraphs. So that's exactly what you can see here. Throughout the suggested answer, we have utilized paragraphs, and that's exactly how you are supposed to develop answers at your real exam. So the examiner specifically mentions that you have to you should not use bullet points or provide answers in single-lined sentences. Instead, per answer point, you need to develop a paragraph which consists of 2 to 4 sentences. So let's assume within, as per your answer plan, there are 9 answer points which you need to highlight. If there are 9 answer points, then you need to have 9 paragraphs within your answer. So per answer point, you need to develop a paragraph. That's how you're supposed to provide your answers. And looking at the word count, when considering a 45-minute task, the ideal word count should be between 650 to 700 words. But always remember that this is not a hard and fast rule. Instead, this is best practice which I'm highlighting, which keeps you, which helps you keep track of the quality of your answer as well as the content of your answer when practicing mock exams. At your real exam, you have no indication pertaining to the word count, so you need not actually worry about it. However, when practicing mock exams, you can figure out whether you are providing appropriately structured answers, or whether you are addressing all the concerns which are highlighted within the requirements when you provide answers which spans for 650 to 700 words. However, if there is a student who writes an answer within 500 words, and yet if all the points are highlighted, you would get marks, because the CIMA examiner is not looking at the quantity. Instead, the examiner is looking at the quality. And when utilizing these 45 minutes, you need to have a good understanding about it. You need to practice your time management technique when doing all your mock exams. So 1/3 of your time should be allocated towards reading and planning the answer, reading the question and developing an answer plan, and 2/3 of your time should be allocated towards typing. Okay, so what I've seen is most students, right after they read the question or right after they read the requirement, they start typing the answer in its entirety. And if you do it, there's a risk, because you are not spending enough time to think. So halfway through your answer, you'd have to think, stop and think. And when you are under pressure, you cannot think properly. You might not remember what you have typed previously. So in order to avoid these things, and halfway through you might realize that you are not addressing the requirements, you are headed in the wrong direction, so you'd have to end up deleting the answer and you'd have to start from scratch. And this leads to extreme levels of stress, because in the back of your mind you'd know that you did not that you wasted time. So in such a context, the quality of your answers will be extremely low. The structure of there won't be any structure within your answer. Your points will be all over the place. And on top of that, you might run out of time as well. Okay, so in order to avoid all these inefficiencies, please stick to the answer planning technique, which I'm highlighting. So out of the 45 minutes, take about 5 minutes to read through the question. Sorry, then utilize 15 minutes to develop something called an answer plan. You'd see what I'm talking about later on with regards to what an answer plan is. So take 15 minutes to develop an answer plan. Within these 15 minutes, you are trying to figure out the structure of your answer. You are trying to figure out whether you are addressing the requirements which are highlighted within the question. You are trying to figure out whether your answer is totally attuned with or aligned with the information presented in the question. And on top of that, you are trying to figure out what type of relevant information can be brought in from the pre-scene to further increase the value of your answer. So you are allocating 15 minutes to think, come up with a plan, then the remaining time can be utilized. Once you have an answer structure at your disposal, expanding it becomes extremely easy. Then, based on the number of points within your answer plan, you can develop your answers in fully fledged paragraphs. And the expected typing speed is a minimum of 20 words per minute. If your typing speed is not up to standard, there are so many platforms out there which will help you with it. Please utilize these services in order to get your typing speed up to par. And when developing answer plans, you need to determine the mark allocation for each subtask based on the weightage provided. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So Under each subtask, you'd see a weightage which is provided. Okay. So as per this question, for subtask A, the weightage is 56%, and for subtask B, the weightage is 44%. So this gives you an indication about how many marks are allocated for each and every subtask. So by understanding the mark allocation, you would know how many answer points needs to be depicted within your answer. Okay, so these weightages are there for you to understand the mark allocation per subtask. And once you know how many marks are allocated, it's pretty easy to decide how many points you need to have within your answer plan. Okay, so that's an extremely important area. And do not spend time on formatting, because you are not getting any marks for this. The only type of formatting you have to be concerned about with regards to headings and subheadings. Headings needs to be in bold and underlined format, and subheadings need to be in bold format. And whenever you are providing answers per answer point, you need to develop a paragraph. Other than that, you need not worry about any other type of formatting. And remember, it's always about the quality of the points, not the length of your answer. Some students think that if you give a lengthy answer, you might pass the exam. That's not the case. It depends on the quality of your answer. That's exactly why I want you guys to spend enough time to plan the answer rather than starting to type the answer straight away, because you'd be getting marks for quality. So in order to ensure that the required level of quality is achieved, you need to spend some time to plan your answer. So that's exactly what finance manager would do. Let's assume the finance manager receives an email from the CFO. Then he or she is not gonna type the response directly. Instead, he or she is gonna spend some time to think, structure the email appropriately so that you address all the concerns raised by the CFO. And if you do, the CFO will be satisfied. So the same, the CIMA examiner is trying to replicate a same scenario. So if you are to pass your exam, just like successful finance manager, you need to ensure that you spend an appropriate amount of time to plan your answer. Right. Then developing answers, what are the steps which you need to adhere to? First things first, you have to read the scenario. Okay. So reading the scenario means going through the question. I said you need to allocate something like 5 minutes for this. And once you read the scenario, you are supposed to plot the requirements into headings and subheadings. So as per this paper, there are two main subheadings, and you need to have two main headings within your answer. So for each subtask, you need to come up with a main heading. And if you feel like you need to further fraction out your answer, then you can come up with subheadings. Okay, so plot the requirements into headings and subheadings. Then before you start developing the answer, you know what the exact requirements are, you know what you're supposed to achieve within your answer. Okay, so that's why I want you guys to do it and invest time to understand the requirement clearly. So that's exactly why I said you need to spend something like 5 minutes to read through the question and understand the exact requirement. So after reading through the question, read through the requirement twice to figure out what is actually expected out of you. Okay, so I don't mind you taking some time on trying to understand the requirement. Even if you read it twice or thrice, I don't mind it, as long as you get it right. Okay, and then once you had understood the requirement clearly, once you have developed your headings and subheadings, you have to move on to the answer planning step. Okay, so answer planning, what is it about? You are supposed to take something like 15 minutes to develop your answer plans. Okay, so ideally an answer plan should look something like this. So as you can see, I've not provided fully fledged answers. Instead, I've stuck to a bullet point, a set of bullet points, and I've ensured that it is kept concise as much as possible, because the answer structure or the answer plan is there for you to understand what you need to cover within the answer. So try to keep it short and simple as much as possible. Okay, then it's easier for you to expand all these answer points. So you are supposed to plan the answer via an answer plan, which just like what I showed you right now, and plan the answer on the answer screen itself. Do not use the scratch pad. So at the exam, you will have the option of utilizing a scratch pad, and I've seen students developing answer plans within the scratch pad. I do not recommend it because once you have developed an answer on the scratch pad, you'd have to shift between the scratch pad and your answer screen, which is an inefficiency. We have to cut out all inefficiencies in order to increase the chances of passing. So I do not want you guys to do it. And on top of that, let's assume you developed an answer plan within the scratch pad and your answer plan had 7 points. But when when typing out the fully fledged answer within the answer screen, you missed out on one of the points which were highlighted within the scratch pad. So you have thought about it, you have mentioned 7 points, but within your answer, you just have 6 paragraphs. Okay, so in order to avoid that, because mistakes could happen under exam pressure, so in order to avoid these type of unnecessary mistakes, I want you guys to develop the answer plan within the answer screen itself. Then you will not miss out any of the points which you have highlighted within the answer plan, and on top of that, there won't be any unnecessary inefficiencies. And once you have the answer plan, something like this, which is in a summarized format, then you can develop your fully fledged answers. So it's all about expanding the points. So I've come up with a set of bullet points, and when providing your answers, it's all about expanding your answer points in paragraphs. Okay, so that's the methodology with regards to development of answer plans, and I will highlight how to do this in a practical sense once I take you through the first task of the MCS mini mock. Right, so we are moving on to the discussion of the mini mock. So I'm gonna base the discussion on the first task of the mini mock. So as per the paper, this mini mock consists of 2 main tasks, and I'm just gonna take you through the answers pertaining to task number 1. And based on that, I will highlight in a practical sense how to develop answer plans. So as per the weightages provided for the first subtask, a weightage of 56% is provided, and for the second 44%. So that's exactly what you can see here within the paper as well. So let's go through the requirement. Section number 1, a 45-minute question. You have received the following email from Irina Juhas, the senior finance manager, as you start your day at office, right? So the subject of this email which we have received is it highlights information about a newspaper article, right? So she's saying, I have attached a newspaper article published today in the Westland Business Daily. Note that this is the second time in this month that Happywell has been implicated in a news article with a complaint of this nature by a customer. So something adverse about us had been publicized within the Westland Business Daily, not for the first time, but for the second time as well. So this is a major issue faced by the company because, as you know, if you had gone through the annotated pre-scene and if you had watched the pre-scene analysis videos, you should already know that Happywell is very well known for its quality of service provision, but there seems to be some type of a problem, and this problem is being continued. That's exactly why these inefficiencies are highlighted within the newspaper, within newspaper articles for the second time. I met Lee Quing Wei, the CEO, in the morning, and he looked very concerned with this news. Lee Quing Wei has also received a call from Neil Husk, one of our major shareholders, expressing concerns over such news articles. Okay, one of our major shareholders are upset about this newspaper article as well. Lee has called for a board meeting today to consider this matter. Okay, so what are you supposed to do? You need to draft a briefing paper for the board that covers the following. Firstly, analyze the impact that a newspaper article like this could have on our company and the likelihood of these impacts materializing. So this question consists of 2 main areas. You are supposed to analyze the impact of the newspaper article on our company. So how is the information provided within the newspaper article going to affect our company or impact our company? And also you need to highlight about the likelihood of those impacts materializing. So this is a question which is based on risk management. So if you are to manage your risks appropriately, first things first, you need to understand the impact of the risks which you are facing, and then you need to look at the likelihood or the probability of these risks materializing. So this is a syllabus area which falls under your E2 syllabus. So you need to, whenever you are supposed to manage a risk, you need to look at the impact of it as well as determine the likelihood. So you are supposed to analyze the impact of the newspaper article and also comment about the likelihood of those impacts materializing. So let's look at the problems which are highlighted within the newspaper article. This article is taken from the Westland Business Daily, and this highlights a customer review. So one of the customers, John Wick, is telling us about bad experience this individual has faced. So as per the information, this customer has returned from a 5-day holiday well spent in sea, sand, sun, and coach, the latest addition to Happywell's 3S package. So if you had gone through the pre-scene, you know what these 3S packages are. The 3 S's stand for sea, sand, and sun. But you know, this individual, this customer, is highlighting a fourth area as well. So let's look at the problem. I had booked a holiday package with Happywell for Mainlandia. Everything was great except for the time wasted on transfers from the airport to the hotel and the other way around. So transportation, this guy is complaining about transportation, not in its entirety. Instead, he's complaining about transportation from the airport to the hotel. So who handles these type of transportation needs from the airport to a hotel and from a hotel to an airport? It's handled by the outsourced service providers who provide coaches or transfer related services. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with us. It appears that there's something wrong with the service providers, outsourced service providers handling transfers. Okay, the flight journey from Westland to Mainlandia took just 45 minutes, but the coach ride from the airport to my hotel took nearly 2 hours. So in order to move between Westlandia and Mainlandia, it had taken only just 45 minutes. But if you look at the coach ride, it had taken 2 hours. Happywell had booked a coach operated by a local transport company to drop us off at the hotel from the airport. Little did I know that it would turn out to be the worst part of the whole trip. The coach had to drop off passengers in 5 hotels, and mine was last in the list. I highlighted this point when I was carrying out the pre-scene analysis sessions, where I said that this is one of the inefficiencies faced by these type of companies which rely on outsourcing transfer programs. Okay, the coach had to drop off passengers in 5 hotels, and mine was the last in the list. Some kids in the coach were very noisy, and I had to turn up the volume in my headset to beat the noise. The interior of the coach wasn't helping either, as the seats weren't comfortable enough and the coach didn't look well maintained. So all these are problems not within Happywell, but problems created by these outsourced service providers. It was distressing. It was a distressing 2-hour journey in the coach, and once again, while coming back to the airport while coming back to the airport at the end of our 5-day holiday, we had to endure another 2-hour journey with the coach visiting one hotel after the other to pick up customers. And this time we were dropped off at the airport an hour earlier than required because some passengers in our coach had a flight which was departing 1 hour before our flight. The holiday started on a negative note and ended on the same note. He's saying that he's disappointed. So these are the type of problems faced by the customer. So based on all this information, considering all this information, we are supposed to analyze the impact or the newspaper article would have on our company and the likelihood of those impacts materializing. All right, so before we start developing the answer, let's try to understand the requirement clearly. So I said that you need to come up with your main headings and subheadings. So that's exactly what I've done in here. So for subtask 1, I've come up with a subheading, or I've summarized the requirement in an understandable and concise manner. Impact of the article and likelihood of impacts materializing. So I said based on the weightage, you are supposed to determine how many marks are allocated. So based per task, you would be getting 37.5 marks. So 60% of 37.5 is 22.5 marks. So you would be getting somewhere around 22 to 23 marks for this subtask. Okay, so then once you know this, then you can move on to developing the answer plan. So as I highlighted earlier, you will be allocated 45 minutes per task, out of which 5 minutes should be allocated towards reading the question, and 5 minutes should be allocated, 5 minutes should be allocated towards reading the question, and 15 minutes should be allocated towards developing the answer plan, and the remaining time should be allocated towards typing the answer. So 20 minutes should be allocated for answer planning and reading, and 25 minutes should be allocated towards typing the answer. All right, so this is my main heading, impact of the newspaper article and the likelihood of impacts materializing, which is in bold and underlined format. And you are getting 22.5 marks as per the mark allocation or as per the weightage. So this said, the first type of impact which I'm going to analyze is with regards to us receiving negative publicity. So I'm starting my answer by talking about what our reputation is based on. Happywell is well known for quality, and this negative review impacts our brand image. Okay, so whenever there's something negative which goes on media, it affects the brand reputation in a negative manner. However much positive our brand image was previously, it will be affected in a negative manner whenever these type of problems occur. So looking at the likelihood of this materializing, the company name is being implicated. Our name appears on the newspaper article, which is extremely problematic. And this is not the first article, but the second one highlighting a similar issue. Okay, so the likelihood of this risk materializing in the future is moderate to high. I would say it's more towards the high category, because this newspaper article or this issue has not been mentioned for the first time. It's being publicized for the second time. So the likelihood of this type of negative publicity affecting the company is moderate to high, more towards the high side. And if the news gets shared across social media and generates more publicity, the likelihood of this negative publicity or this risk materializing is extremely high. Why am I saying it? Because when you take newspaper readership, it's extremely low compared to social media. So, a limited number of customers will actually get to know about these inefficiencies, and these customers would be the people who would read newspapers. However, if this news article gets publicized via social media, then our reputation will be in the doldrums in a short period of time. So that's why I'm saying that the likelihood of this risk materializing, if this news goes on social media, is extremely high. Okay, and the second type of an impact is bookings to the same destination, Mail India, in the short term. So whenever a customer tries to book a travel package within Mail India, then these customers, since they had seen something negative about it on the newspapers, will think twice about it. So I've highlighted this impact. Bookings to the same destination will be affected in a negative manner, because people will think twice before booking holiday packages based in Mail India. Any customer seeing negative reviews can have second thoughts, and customers may consider alternatives. Why? Because our competitors are providing similar services, so they would choose a competitor's service over us. And this is heightened because Mangoosea, our closest competitor, offers the same type of services and has a similar market share. So in such a context, definitely it's easy for the customer to switch from us and look for a substitute. Okay, and there's a similar sized company. Because of that, we might lose sales, and our customers will be directed towards Mangoosea. Okay, so I said in my second video, I said that you need to bring in information from the pre-scene, and for that you gain marks. So that's exactly what I've done here. I've brought in information from the pre-scene to show the examiner that I know about the company. And on top of that, when bringing in information, I've not just brought in information which does not add value, or I've not just brought in general information. Instead, I've brought information which is extremely specific to the requirement and adds value to my answer. Okay, so looking at the likelihood of this risk materializing, customers may not want to take a chance with their holiday trip. If we are dealing with these type of customers, then the likelihood of bookings to mainland India falling will be extremely high or relatively high. However, some customers may see delays with transfers to be inherent with holiday travel. Some customers may think, okay, this is basic, even if I use any service provider, I am faced with these type of issues given the industry dynamics. So in such a context, the likelihood of this newspaper article affecting bookings to mainland India will be moderate. Okay, so that's that. Then as per the information provided in the question, Elon Musk, one of our major shareholders, are not too satisfied to hear the adverse news. So Elon Musk has expressed his disappointment, and other shareholders might jump on the bandwagon, especially since this shareholder is a majority shareholder. And the likelihood of this risk materializing, shareholders can become concerned about the negative impact on share price. Okay, and if they are really concerned about it, they'd end up selling their shares, and our share price will drop. However, some shareholders may see the issue as something which is inherent in holiday travel, just like the customers. So in such a context, the likelihood of this risk materializing will be moderate. Okay, so I've highlighted all the areas. I've covered all the information which is provided in the requirement or provided as part of the scenario and reference material. So you need to develop, I said that you need to allocate 15 minutes to develop an answer plan. So this is exactly what we are supposed to do. You need to develop an answer plan. So as you can see, I've structured my answer properly, and while structuring, I've covered multiple areas. Okay, you can only cover multiple areas, or you can carry out an in-depth evaluation when you have time to think. So that's exactly why I want you guys to stick to the answer planning technique. If you do, you will manage your time, and on top of that, you will come up with an appropriate structure. And once you know the structure, it's extremely easy to expand all these points and develop answers in paragraphs. And as I highlighted earlier, you can think and bring in information from the pre-scene when you develop an answer structure. Okay, but when you start typing the answer straight away without spending some time to think, you will in the rush, you will forget to bring information from the pre-scene. Yet if you stick to this process, your life becomes extremely easy. And once you have a structure, when it comes to typing, there's no thinking involved. It's only it should be the time allocated for typing should only be focused on expanding the points which are highlighted within your answer plan. Okay, so that's the answer for the first subtask. Let's move on to the second subtask. Secondly, provide your suggestions and how, provide your suggestions on how we can prevent such incidents from recurring with transfers handled by third-party transport companies in the future. Okay, so we have analyzed the impact and likelihood of pertaining to the or relating to the issues which are highlighted within the question. Now the examiner wants you to suggest action to prevent these type of inefficiencies in the future. Okay, so I'm going back. This is how I've summarized it. How to prevent issues with transfers. 40% is the weightage provided. Based on that, 15 marks will be allocated. Okay, so suggestions on how to prevent such incidents with transfers. That's my main heading, which is in bold and underlined format. Happywell does not have complete control over transport providers because we had outsourced it as per the information provided in the pre-scene. Okay, so I'm starting my answer by talking about the present day business dynamics of the company, then moving on to recommendations with regards to preventing these issues. So suggestions to reduce issues. Select transport companies based on service quality, not cost. So as per the information provided in the newspaper article, the customer is complaining. Yeah, let's go back to that. The customer is complaining that the coach ride was it took a long period of time, and on top of that the seats were uncomfortable. Okay, and children were shouting all the time. All these type of inefficiencies were there. So in order to avoid these inefficiencies, what we can do is we can, when selecting a transport company, we can select one which focuses on quality. Could be a bit expensive, yet our reputation is based on quality. So in such a context, it's better to align ourselves with or partner up with a transport company which shares the same ethos when it comes to quality. Okay, and Happywell is known for quality, and poor service quality can offset cost savings. So we might be, by selecting a low quality service provider, we might be saving up money, because it's a low quality service provider will charge low prices from us. However, if service quality is compromised, these cost savings which we achieve by selecting a low quality service provider will be overridden. And partnering with reliable transport companies is another option. It's better to go for a partnership, establish long-term work relationships. So in such a context, if something inefficient or some problem occurs, we can easily find out, we can easily get to the root of the problem. Given our collaborative relationships with partners, we can easily convince them, negotiate with them, and convince them to improve service offerings and whatnot. So it's better to go for long-term working relationships rather than short-term working relationships. And we should clearly agree on service standards to be maintained within the coaches. Okay, then active engagement of representatives. So we have reps at each and every hotel in which we own. So we can use these reps to ensure that these inefficiencies are gotten rid of. Reps should develop a close working relationship with transport companies, because our employees who are at the head office cannot reach out to all these transport companies and ensure that these guys are sticking to the required quality standards. Instead, I'm providing a practical recommendation where I'm saying the reps should be given the responsibility to deal with these guys and ensure that there's a close working relationship with these service providers. And better communication and coordination can minimize transportation related delays. So since these reps are located within our hotels, it's easy for them to communicate with these guys and coordinate with these guys and ensure that transport delays or any type of inefficiency is minimized. Then another action which we can take is we can monitor customer feedback relating to transfers. Yes, definitely. We should gather feedback from our customers. Negative feedback should be communicated to relevant hotel managers so that these hotel managers can take necessary action, deal with these transportation companies, and managers should take appropriate action. So once we inform the hotel managers are supposed to deal with these issues with the respective transportation providers. We can also carry out audits of local transport companies to keep track of the condition and cleanliness of coaches, punctuality of the bus drivers, coach drivers, driver behavior, as well as adherence to traffic rules. So by keeping track of these or auditing these areas, we will be in a position to prevent inefficiencies when it comes to transportation services provision. So when we track these things, we will be in a position to identify transport service providers who are not upholding the required level of quality in these areas. So in such a context, we can discontinue utilizing their services. So we will, in such an environment, we will not wait until we receive a complaint from one of our customers. Instead, we are conducting our own audit and ensuring that our customers get the highest quality of services, as well as we ensure that customers are provided a comfortable service. All right, so that's the type of an answer plan which you're supposed to develop. And once you develop such an answer plan, it's just a matter of utilizing the remaining 25 minutes to type your answer. So although I've said these things, you cannot just replicate it at your exam. You have to keep practicing it. So when you are practicing the 5 mock exams, you have to stick to this structure, because for instance, when you attempt your mock number 1, and when you try to replicate this type of answer planning technique, although I'm saying, or although I'm asking you to utilize just 15 minutes to develop an answer plan, you'd realize that it takes about 30 minutes to do so, right? So that is because you are doing it for the first time. But once you keep on repeating the same methodology over and over again, when attempting the 5 mock exams. From mock exam 3 up until 5, you will see that you have the capability of developing an answer plan between 15 to 20 minutes. And once you keep on practicing this, you will become a champion at developing answer plans. And the same strategy can be used within your real exam. So I've seen so many students, they would attend this webinar. They'll never replicate this technique when doing up their answer attempting their mock exams, and at the end they end up failing the exam because it needs some practice. You need to practice this answer planning technique, or else you can't straight away walk into the exam hall and take 15 minutes and develop an answer plan. Okay, so whenever you are attempting a mock, please make sure to stick to this process, keep practicing this, and if you do, your chances of passing the exam is extremely high. Why am I saying it? Because each mock exam consists of 4 main tasks. So 4 into 5 mock exams is 20 tasks. So you would be attempting 20 tasks if you attempt 5 mock exams. That means you'll be developing 20 answer plans. So once you had practiced doing developing answer plans 20 times over, then that's enough practice for you to be a champion at it. So I want you guys to keep practicing this. So before we move on to the next area of our session, let me talk about what we offer. So I'm on the MCS page, and you can, before investing on our products, check out the sample material by clicking on this button. Okay, and on top of that, we are offering free content as well. So by clicking on this button, you can access all the free content which you can get your hands on. Right, then looking at the 3 different types of packages which we are offering. The first package is the essential pack, which will give you access to the 4 recorded versions of the webinars, because within these 4 webinars which we are conducting, we are highlighting all the technicalities pertaining to facing your MCS examination. In the first one, we provided a study plan. In the second one, I took you through the first part of pre-scene analysis, and in this one, I spoke about answer planning and time management technique. And in the fourth one, I'll be taking you through examiner's comments. So all this technical information, technical knowledge will be, can be accessed via these 4 webinars. And you'd get your hands on the 5 exam standard mock exams and suggested answers, and the 4 pre-scene analysis videos. And this is priced at £99. So if you are coming through the CIMA general route, and if you had aced your OTQ exams, if you had gotten really good marks at your OTQ exam, if you had not failed any of your OTQ exams, then you can simply go for this package. And on top of that, if you are comfortable with 100% self-learning, then the essential pack is what is necessary for you to pass the exam. Why am I saying it? Because if you had aced your OTQ exams, it indicates that you have an appropriate level of knowledge about the theoretical concepts. And on top of that, if you can work on your own without any tutor assistance, then you can go through our suggested answers, develop your own answer plans based on the suggested answers. Every time you attempt a mock, you can, after attempting the mock, if you are comfortable with referring to the suggested answer and trying to figure out where your shortcomings are, if you can allocate marks on your own for your mock papers, then simply go for the essentials pack, which is priced at £99. Then looking at the second package, which is the value pack, you'd get your hands on the 4 recorded versions of the 4 webinars, 5 exams, mock exams with suggested answers, the 4 pre-scene analysis videos, and on top of that, you'd get your hands on the annotated pre-scene, the industry analysis slides, the financial analysis slides, the top 10 issues, and the case study familiarization kit. Okay, so let me take you through some of the sample material which we provide. So this is what an annotated pre-scene looks like. You would have seen this because I used a similar annotated pre-scene at the second webinar when I was conducting the pre-scene analysis. So as you can see through the annotations, I've summarized the entire pre-scene in an understandable manner. And on top of that, I've highlighted the hints thrown at you by the examiner, which highlights about probable exam scenarios. And on top of that, I've also highlighted certain syllabus content or syllabus areas which can be tested based on the information provided in the pre-scene. Okay, and on top of that, we offer a set of industry analysis slides. So these industry analysis slides are developed based on real life dynamics of the industry, which enables you to better understand what happens within the industry, which is going to be extremely beneficial for you when developing answers. So these are the contents. So market division, market dynamics, competitive landscape, market shares, segmentation, trends within the industry, as well as real life examples are also provided based on 2 real life companies. Okay, and we provide a set of financial analysis slides, thereby summarizing and evaluating every financial statement which is provided. And at the very end, you can find a ratio analysis as well, and each ratio is evaluated in depth. And these are the set of slides which are used for the 4th pre-scene analysis video as well. Then looking at the type of tutor feedback you'd get, this is the type of tutor feedback you'd get your hands on. As you can see, I've provided a comment for each and every paragraph of answer. Okay, and that's you can see it throughout the answer, and at the very end we'll be allocating marks on a subtask by subtask basis, and we will be indicating about a success rate. If you do not get marks above 54% for each subtask, we'll be indicating it so that you can go back whenever you are going through the mock on your own, or when you are trying to get rid of your shortcomings, you can simply focus on areas where you need to improve. So as per the information provided, this student has not provided a good answer for task 2B, task 3A, and task 4A. So towards the weekend, when you're trying to iron out your issues, you can primarily focus on these areas and ensure that you overcome the issues. And at the very end, we provide general comments as well. So going back to the value pack, yes. So these type of additional material will be at your disposal if you go for the value pack, and you can access the tutor managed live chat. We have faced some technical difficulties when it comes to integrating Twilio, but it will be fixed within this week as per our IT. So you can, whenever you have a problem, you can type your question or your concern, and our tutors will be available almost all the time to help you guys out and direct you in the correct direction. And you'd get your hands on the theory recap slides pertaining to OTQ syllabus content E2, F2, and P2. And this is priced at £199. If you are coming through the CIMA general route, yet if you struggled with your OTQ exams, and if you feel that you need some type of tutor assistance, then go for the value pack. Okay, then looking at the premium package, it consists of all material which comes under the value pack. On top of that, you'd get access to the online mock exam platform or the learning management system which we have developed to be akin to the Pearson VUE system you'd be using at your real exam. Okay, so when attempting all 5 mock exams, you can attempt them via our exam platform, thereby gaining enough experience about real life exam conditions. So when attempting your mock exams, we want you guys to allocate 3 hours of your time, sit in one place, and attempt the entire mock in one go. I've seen students when it comes to attempting mocks, when they try to do it on their own on a Word doc or whatever, what they would do is they'll attempt task 1 today, task 2 tomorrow, task 3 day after tomorrow, and whatnot. That but at the exam you have to sit in one place and attempt the entire paper in one go, and you'd get yourself accustomed to similar conditions if you attempt your mock exams within our exam platform. Because if you utilize our exam platform, you are forced to sit in one place and attempt the entire mock in one go. Okay, you need to get used to exam pressure. It's not easy to allocate 3 hours of your time and keep providing answers to questions. It's going to be an extremely stressful experience. So in order to get accustomed to these conditions, utilize our mock exam platform. If so, then you would find it to provide good answers at your exam, because you have already been accustomed to exam stress by attempting the mock exams via our exam platform. And we are providing one-to-one personal marking and tutor feedback on mocks 3, 4, and 5. So you saw the type of tutor feedback you would get your hands on. And on top of that, you would get access to answer plans of all mocks. So I showed you what an answer plan looks like. So these are summaries of the suggested answers. So these summaries are provided for all 5 mock exams. So you need not spend time to summarize the suggested answers, and you need not spend a considerable amount of time closer to the exam to go through pages and pages of suggested answers. Instead, by looking at these answer plans, you can easily understand the content, how syllabus content or theoretical elements are covered, how application is fulfilled, and on top of that, you can easily see the structure of the entire answer. You can easily understand the logic of the entire answer by looking at the structure. So, closer to the exam, if you go through these answer plans pertaining to the 5 mocks, it's as if you are revising all OTQ syllabus areas. You are revising about probable exam scenarios as well as probable exam questions. And once you go through these summaries, it's extremely easy for you to improve your knowledge, as well as you would keep reminding yourself about the type of exam scenarios you see at your question. So that's one of the services which we are providing under the premium package, and you'd get your hands on the 12 master classes which are conducted to explain the answers of all 5 mocks. So via these master classes, what we are doing is we are teaching you theory as well as application, because as I've seen, mostly students who are coming through an exemption route via the FLP route or the Master's Gateway program, they lack an appropriate level of understanding, especially when it comes to P2 and F2 related syllabus content. Okay, so if you do not know your P2 and F2 in depth, you cannot pass this exam. So if you are to gain a good understanding about theoretical concepts, you need to attend these master classes. And on top of that, just by knowing theory, you cannot pass this exam. You have to have an understanding about how to apply this knowledge to a real exam situation. Okay, so that's exactly what you saw within these answer plans. So theory is brought in a practical sense. You cannot just bring in the Tara framework or explain the Tara framework here. You won't get any marks for doing that. Instead, you need to use the Tara framework and apply it to the requirement, apply it to the information which is provided in the scenario. So all these things, application and theoretical knowledge, will be taught at these master classes. And there'll be 7 tutor-led weekly webinars and workshops. So from the first week up until the week before your exam, you will have either a webinar, a workshop, or a masterclass. So on a weekly basis, we'll be keeping tabs on you to figure out where you stand, and we'll be determining whether you need to work harder or not on a weekly basis. And you can, when making the payment, you can opt for a monthly installment plan, where you can make the payment in 3 monthly installments. The price of the package is $550, but we are offering early bird discount on the first installment. Because of that, the first installment comes out to £49, and the remaining £450 can be paid over 2 months. The remaining 2 months in installments amounting to £225 each, and this comes with a pass guarantee. So most of the students are asking about this pass guarantee. So if you end up failing the exam, even after using the premium package, which is highly unlikely, yet if you end up failing the exam, you'd get your hands on the same package in your subsequent sitting free of charge. Okay, so that's the pass guarantee which we are providing. And remember that all these packages are available until the 31st of August 2023. And even if you are attempting your exams in August, you can invest on your preferred package right now and start your preparations. And as I told you earlier, please refer to the study plan to get your get an understanding about what you need to do on a weekly basis. We are in week number 2. So you have done the first task of week number 2, which is attending the answering technique webinar. And on on Tuesday, the coming Tuesday, you are supposed to attend the masterclass for mock 1, where we'll be highlighting explaining the answers, thereby at the same time highlighting theory or teaching you theory as well as application. And you are supposed to attempt mock number 2 via the exam platform. I need to say that none of the students had attempted mock number 1. You were supposed to do it last week. So it's about time that you start attempting mocks, because as per our study plan, you are supposed to find 3 hours of your time, sit in one place and attempt the mock via our exam platform. Everything else is handled by us. Okay, so even we are providing answer plans based on the suggested answers. So we have taken a step further and providing you summaries, so providing you with summaries of each and every answer. So we have handled everything for you. Your only task should be to find 3 hours on a weekly basis, sit in one place and attempt the mock exam. And if you do, as you see closer to the exam in week number 6, there's nothing much to do. You're simply supposed to refer to the answer plans of mocks 1 to 5 and reread the annotated pre-scene. So you'd have an advantage over other students, because the others who do not work according to a study plan will be focusing primarily towards the 2 weeks leading up to the exam. They'll be focusing on attempting mock exams. They'll be going through pages and pages of suggested answers, so they won't have enough time to improve the quality of their answers. Instead, they'll be attempting mocks for the sake of doing it. But you are not supposed to do it. You are supposed to attempt a mock per week. So let's assume you attempt a mock on Tuesday, and on Wednesday you are supposed to attend the masterclass or watch the recorded version of the masterclass. And by Thursday you would get tutor feedback within 48 hours. Then you have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to yourself to improve or to get rid of your shortcomings. Okay, other students will not do that. Other students, they take the last 2 weeks, try to do 5 mocks within the last 2 weeks. Then you have no time to improve the quality of your answers. You would have no time to get tutor feedback. So in order to avoid all these shortcomings, we want you guys to stick to the study plan which we offer. Right. So moving on to the third part of tonight's webinar, this is focused on individuals who failed the exam in the previous sitting or on a previous sitting. Before you start preparations for the upcoming exam, which is happening in May, you need to realize whether you gave your best or not. So you need to be involved with a personal reflection. So you have to be honest with yourself and see whether you allocated enough time to attempt mock exams. You need to understand how many mocks you actually attempted. Yeah, you need to understand whether you went through the pre-scene document properly, whether you understood the financial statements properly, so whether you allocated enough time for your studies. All these things need to be done when you are conducting the personal reflection. And by conducting this personal reflection, you are in a position to understand where you went wrong in the exam. You need to diagnose the reasons first and address them this time, because you can't keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. If that is the case, you will end up failing the exam continuously, and you will be actually demotivated to continue your CIMA studies. Okay, you are supposed to refer to the mini mock and suggested answers as well as the examiner's report to figure out what your shortcomings are. And if you attend our master classes, the weekly webinars, as well as if you opt for one-to-one tutor feedback, then you'll realize what your real shortcomings are based on the feedback which we provide. And did you get feedback on your mocks last time? If not, I suggest you go for it this time, because if you had gotten something like less than 60 marks, then that indicates that there's something wrong with theoretical knowledge. Okay, so in such a context, you need to learn theory this time. And on top of that, you have to ensure that the quality of the answers which you provide are up to the requirements of the examiner. So the best person to judge it would be a tutor, an experienced tutor. So if you did not get feedback last time, and if you got marks below 60 or 65, it's better to opt for tutor feedback this time. And based on these things, you need to come up with an action plan, which is to work smarter than the previous attempt. So then let's look at the common reasons for failure. Practicing just 2 or 3 mocks. So I've seen students, I told you, 2 weeks leading up to, during the last 2 weeks of the exam, students will try to attempt mock exams, and they find out that they do not have enough time to attempt 5 mocks. So they'll just focus on just 2 or 3 mocks, and most students are extremely comfortable. They think that you can easily pass this exam. That's not the truth. That's far from the truth. CIMA case study examinations are one of the hardest examinations out there. So you just by attempting just 2 or 3 mocks, you cannot pass the exam. Because why I would want you guys to attempt 5 mocks is you need to get accustomed to answer planning technique. Okay, you need to keep practicing this technique over and over again. And on top of that, you need to cover the entire syllabus via the mock exams. So when developing our 5 exam standard mock exams, what we have focused on is covering the entire syllabus pertaining to the management level. So we have covered all questions which can be thrown at you relating to E2, P2, and F2. And if you do not attempt all 5 mock exams, you cannot cover the entire syllabus. So that's the first problem, practicing just 2 or 3 mocks. If you want to cover the entire syllabus, you have to practice 5 mocks. And on top of that, if you are to champion the answer planning and time management technique, every time you attempt a mock, you need to keep practicing this answer planning technique over and over again. Okay, and not practicing mocks under simulated exam conditions. So this is exactly what I told you earlier. When practicing mock exams, students take to a staggered approach, attempting task number 1 today, task 2 tomorrow, and task 3 day after tomorrow, but you are not supposed to do it at your exam. So whenever you are attempting a mock exam, think that you are doing the real paper. You need to replicate or simulate a real life exam situation. So the best way to do it is to attempt the 5 mocks via our exam platform. And so that's a solution to this problem. And another problem faced by students, mostly students coming through the exemption routes such as the FLP and Master's Gateway, they lack technical knowledge, especially pertaining to P2 and F2. So if you do not have an appropriate level of knowledge, you cannot pass the exam. And on top of that, even if you know your theory, if you do not know how to apply this theory, still you can't pass the exam. So in order to overcome these shortcomings, what you need to do is you need to attend our master classes, where theory will be taught based on a real life question which can be thrown at you at the exam. And on top of that, via the question itself, we will be teaching you application. So if you want to learn theory as well as application, then you need to attend the master classes. And shortcomings in application of knowledge, again, this problem can be overcome by attending the master classes. And inappropriate answering technique, although I've taught you the answering technique, if you do not practice it, you cannot do it for the first time at your real exam. So stick to our answer planning technique, then you won't run out of time. You would come up with properly structured answers, and the quality of your answers will be extremely high. And mismanagement of time is another killer that can be avoided by sticking to our answer planning technique. And lack of evaluation. So if you opt for the essential pack or the value pack, you need to evaluate your answers on your own. So certain students can do it. If you are extremely studious and smart, you can do this. You can compare your answer to that of the suggested answers, and you will be in a position to figure out what the shortcomings are, what the gaps are. However, if you cannot do this on your own, please opt for tutor feedback this time, or else your chances of passing the exam will be extremely bleak. and not adhering to a study plan is another major killer. But yet we have provided a solution to it. We have provided you a study plan which can be found within the website itself. So if you go through the study plan and stick to it, you can easily pass the exam, because as you know, last Wednesday, the results came out, and our pass rate is 93% for this for the February session. And on top of that, 7 of our students had scored more than 100 marks. So these all 7 of these students stuck to our study plan. So what they did was, they were only supposed to attempt a mock on a weekly basis, and they attended the webinars, watched our videos, and did and opted for tutor feedback. They since they attempted mocks on a weekly basis, they were able to get feedback on time way before the exam, and they had enough time to work on their shortcomings. So if you stick to our study plan and attempt our mock exams, utilize all our services, you can easily pass your exam. So your pass mark is 80, but 7 of our students got marks in excess of 100. So that itself shows that if you stick to our study system, you can easily pass the exam. All right. And a reminder about the 50% discount, which is offered on the first installment of the premium package. Okay. And this will be there for the upcoming 2 weeks. Any questions, guys? So if you have any questions, you can switch on your mic and talk, or drop us a message via the chat section. All right, seems like there aren't any more questions, so I'm going to conclude the session. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com, or simply drop us an email via info@study@tcs.com, or you can drop us a message via WhatsApp as well. And I urge you guys to follow us on our social media handles, especially go check out the blog posts, which can be accessed via the website itself. So these blog posts will provide you with all the technical information pertaining to your MCS examination. Okay. And we will be sharing the TikTok videos. So we have been a bit late this time when sharing the TikTok videos, especially because the SCS pre-scene was released 4 days before the normal release date. So we were a bit busy with SCS, but don't worry, within this week we will be publicizing the first TikTok video out of the 3 TikTok videos. So these TikTok videos will be a good summary of the entire pre-scene, because we'll be summarizing the entire pre-scene within just 9 to 10 minutes. And if you keep watching these TikToks on a daily basis, you will keep reminding yourself about the most important information which is highlighted within the pre-scene, and this information can easily be replicated within your answers to improve the quality of your answers. So having said that, it brings us to the end of the session. So thank you very much, guys, for joining in. I hope you'd stick to our study plan, and also remember to join the 4th webinar, which is happening in another 2 weeks time. And those of you who had already invested on the premium package, remember that your first masterclass, which is based on mock number 1, is happening this Tuesday at 18 GMT. That's 7 PM UK time. And in South Africa, it's 8 PM. All right. You're welcome, Hussein. So thanks, guys. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Thank you.